You have waited in line, watched your groceries move across the scanner, and pulled out your card. The total appears. You are ready to leave. Then the cashier asks, "Would you like to round up for charity?" It is only 43 cents, perhaps $1. Behind you, someone is holding a basket and staring toward the register. The cashier is waiting. A charity's name, sometimes accompanied by a photograph of a sick child or hungry family, is glowing on the payment screen. Suddenly, pressing no does not feel like an ordinary financial decision. It feels like announcing that you do not care. That uncomfortable moment is the power of checkout charity. The amount is small, but the decision is public, rushed, and emotionally loaded. You are being asked while another person may be watching, while a line is waiting, and while the easiest way to remove the discomfort is to say yes. Checkout donations can raise serious money for legitimate causes. Engage for Good reported that 92 major point-of-sale campaigns in the United States raised more than $275 million in 2024. These campaigns work because millions of tiny gifts become a large source of funding. A few cents collected across thousands of stores and millions of transactions can support hospital programs, food assistance, and other services. The problem is not that every checkout campaign is dishonest. It is the way the request changes the emotional cost of refusing. Most decisions about charity happen privately. You can read about an organization, check how it spends money, consider your budget, and decide whether the cause fits your values. At a checkout, that process is compressed into seconds. There is no time to research the charity, compare it with another organization, or ask how much reaches the intended program. The screen presents a simple moral-looking choice: donate or decline. Researchers have found that charitable giving is not driven only by generosity. It can also be influenced by social pressure. In a well-known field experiment involving door-to-door fundraising, researchers Stefano Della Vigna, John List, and Ulrike Malmendia found evidence that some people give partly because they dislike refusing a direct request. When people were warned that a fundraiser would arrive, many avoided the interaction. The study estimated that saying no carried a real psychological cost. The checkout counter creates a smaller version of the same situation. You are face-to-face with a cashier, or standing at a machine designed to resemble a conversation. Other shoppers may be close enough to hear. Even if nobody judges you, your brain starts imagining that they might. That imagined audience matters. Humans are sensitive to reputation. We want to appear kind, fair, and socially responsible, especially when our behavior is visible. A private refusal can have practical reasons. You already donate elsewhere, you do not know the organization, your budget is tight, or you dislike making financial decisions under pressure. A public refusal can feel as if all those reasons disappear and only one message remains: I would not give 50 cents to help. The cashier probably does not care. They may have asked the question hundreds of times that week. The customer behind you may not be listening. But embarrassment does not require real judgment. The possibility is often enough. Research published in the Journal of Business Research examined this darker side of checkout charity across 4 studies. The researchers found that donation requests could create anxiety and reduce customers' evaluations of the service encounter. Agreeing to donate could relieve some anxiety in certain cashier-led situations, which helps explain why saying yes may feel less like considered generosity and more like paying a small fee to escape an awkward moment. Automated requests were not necessarily harmless. Technology-mediated prompts could also produce negative reactions. The design of the screen strengthens the pressure. Donation buttons are often large and specific: $1, $3, $5, or round up. The refusal button may say no, thanks, forcing you to actively reject the request rather than continue with payment. The wording is polite, but it quietly assigns roles. The charity is asking for help, the store appears supportive, and you become the person who must decline. Roundup is especially effective because it disguises the donation as unfinished arithmetic. If your bill is $19.62, moving it to $20 feels cleaner than making a separate 38-cent contribution. Research discussed by the Associated Press found that rounding up can feel less painful than giving a fixed amount, even when the financial result is similar. The request also arrives after you have accepted a much larger purchase, making the extra cents seem insignificant. Once you are already spending money, approving one more tiny charge requires less mental effort than stopping to evaluate it. The donation becomes part of the checkout flow instead of a separate decision. That convenience is why the system raises so much money, but it is also why the choice may not be thoughtful. There is another reason people hesitate. They are unsure who benefits. Some prompts clearly name the charity and explain the cause. Others offer little more than roundup to help or display a logo too quickly to examine. A 2025 report described by Kiplinger found that only 74% of the 92 campaigns reviewed clearly identified the benefiting charity. When the organization is unclear, shoppers are asked to trust the retailer without enough information for an informed donation. Suspicion has also produced a persistent internet myth that stores collect customer donations and claim the money as their own tax deduction. In the United States, that is generally false. When a retailer collects a customer's donation and passes it to a charity, the company cannot treat the customer's money as its own charitable contribution. The customer may be able to claim an eligible donation subject to tax rules and documentation, but the retailer does not receive a charitable deduction for money that was never its donation. That does not mean retailers receive no benefit. A successful campaign may improve the company's public image, strengthen its relationship with a charity, and let it advertise a large fundraising total. Those benefits are reputational, not a secret transfer of your tax deduction. It is reasonable to ask whether a wealthy corporation should contribute more of its own money. But that is a different question from whether customer donations reach real causes. So what should you do when the screen appears? First, separate generosity from immediacy. A worthy cause does not become unworthy because you decline at the register, and you do not become selfish because you prefer to donate later. Good giving usually involves knowing the organization, understanding the purpose, and choosing an amount that fits your finances. Second, prepare a sentence before you need it. Not today, thank you is enough. You do not owe the cashier an explanation. You do not need to mention your budget, list the charities you support, or prove that you are a good person. The request is optional, and a polite refusal completes the interaction. Third, if the cause interests you, photograph the charity's name or look it up after leaving. Donating directly may give you more control over the amount, provide clearer records, and let you learn how the organization uses its funds. Checkout giving is convenient, but convenience should not replace informed choice. Finally, remember that embarrassment is part of the mechanism, not evidence that you are doing something wrong. The line behind you, the waiting cashier, the emotional wording, and the glowing buttons turn a private financial choice into a public test of character. Once you recognize that design, the pressure becomes easier to resist. That distinction matters because generous choices deserve time, clarity, and genuine consent. The fairest checkout donation systems make giving simple without making refusal shameful. They name the charity, explain where the money goes, use neutral buttons, and allow customers to continue without delay or judgment. Charity works best when people give because they truly want to, not because paying 38 cents feels easier than pressing no. Saying no does not make you selfish. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more hidden psychology behind everyday decisions.